Hey guys, what is going on? It is Brook, or the Undead DM. I'm back at it again with another video for you today. And in this episode, it's not really going to be much of a rant per se. It's going to be closer to like a bit of a discussion, maybe a passing on of some knowledge that I've learned recently. But nevertheless, it'll be put under the Rants section, as this is just kind of something that's come to my mind recently. So let's just get started with it. So, a couple weeks, maybe a week or two ago, I had turned 24. Congratulations, me, yay. Anyway, I turned 24, and my players in my mainstay campaign that's been going on for about 2 years, I just recently sent them in a sort of One Piece style time skip, where they are separated as a party, and they have to train in order to get stronger to beat my big bad evil guy. Most people would find that a little bit lazy and, kind of a bad thing to do, but my players seem to kind of enjoy it. But regardless, to kind of give myself some breathing room and just kind of focus on what I'm going to do thematically for each player, I decided that for my birthday, instead of running my standard campaign, I was going to run a one-shot in 4th edition. With some help from the people in the Pack Tactics Discord server. Link to Pack Tactics channel in the description below if you want to check that out. He's a real cool guy. Haven't spoken with him personally over voice call, but something I'd love to do at some point, maybe. Maybe also collab with Brook at some point, but that's beside the point. I'd run this one shot in 4th edition using level 5 characters, Brook from Brook Opinions, also linked to his channel in the description below. He helped me design what I was going to do against my players, and they did pretty well. A few things that I did learn about 4th edition, though. The combat it's a bit funky, because I don't know, to me, it feels like if you're in a dungeon, it's not very clear to me where an encounter ends and the next one begins. Because in this encounter, or in this one shot, they were in a goblin cave, but it was infested with hobgoblins instead of just traditional goblins. And there were multiple sections of this small cave. So I was very confused. I didn't know, because after the first encounter, they asked, is this the end of the combat encounter? But I knew if I had done that, it would kind of make using encounter powers less punishing, I guess, or they'd have to think less about what encounter powers they use. Especially since they have 2 encounter powers they can use. Meanwhile, the enemies typically only had 1, except for the Hobgoblin Warcaster, which I think had 2, if I remember correctly from last night. Because, unfortunately, during my birthday, we weren't able to run it because not a lot of players were there. They were having kind of issues setting up the 4th edition character builder. It was a bit of a hassle, so we just put it off until this past Saturday. But I noticed that the enemies don't really have a lot of minor actions. They predominantly have standard actions, and when you only have 1 standard action per turn, it does kind of suck. Especially when you look at the Dungeon Master's Guide, or the DM screen, and it shows all the minor actions you can take. And a basic attack isn't on there. I think with a basic attack being so weak, it should be a minor action. since it's literally just dealing your normal weapon damage. And yeah, sure, The magic weapons, they may add some bonuses whenever you hit with them, so it would be technically you get the bonuses from that as well as the normal weapon attack. You just wouldn't add your strength, dex, or whatever. But I think melee and ranged basic attacks, not even at will powers, I think should just be minor actions, because you can only get one. And sure, some powers would require you to use a basic attack like a charge in order to use them. But even so, I think that's a bit strange. I found myself a little bit lacking when it came to the combat. Mainly it's because I would possibly think it's probably because I wasn't fully aware of how to run a lot of the monsters, how they were meant to work with each other and synergize with one another. I don't know, it just feels like that the lower level encounters, at least to me, didn't really feel all that impactful, which is to be expected. But my players had plenty of fun, so I'd say for anybody out there who hasn't played 4th edition or read 4th edition or anything of the sort, I'd say give it a shot. In fact, I'll link down below somewhere that a member of Pack Tactics had given me. It is a link that takes you to a page that allows you to access a lot of the stuff, if I can remember where I can find the link. But you can get all of the 4th edition stuff for free. It's very nice. I'd recommend it. But I'd say look it over, read it, kind of understand the mechanics. It's not that hard. My players took a little time to adjust to it, but once they started to figure out standard action, minor action, move action, they kind of got a hang of it really, really quickly. I think they started to realize that the mechanics are very simple and very easy to understand once you kind of get a hold of the equivalent of standard action equals action, minor action equals bonus action, and move action equals move. They kind of just equated it to 5th edition things, I think, in my mind. That's how they were thinking. And so it kind of made a lot more sense when put into that context. But it went really well. So to all you out there, I'd recommend reading and playing 4th edition. There's a whole 4th edition D&D Discord server you can join. There's always people looking for players and dungeon masters and all that. It's really good fun, and they even have all the materials needed there. They also have the offline character builder, and they have an entire section helping you download that. But overall, I think my first experience with 4th edition was really good, and I would highly recommend playing 4th edition. My players loved it. I personally loved running it. It was a lot of fun to see what the monsters could do. And not really having to worry about saving throws all that much. That was a big plus. Just send me a screenshot of what your defenses are, and this way I'll know if it hits you or not. Like, that's actually what one of my players did, where they have this thing where they get tired of telling the dungeon master what their saves are, like what their spell save DC is in 5th edition. So what they'll do is they'll just screen cap it, and they'll just send it to the dungeon master. So this way the dungeon master can go, okay, he saves. And then he'll tell them, oh yeah, they rolled this plus this, and they'll be like, oh yeah, that's fine. So the dungeon master already knows they succeeded, but then as you're rolling and you see the result, you go, oh, you have a spell save DC of 18, but he rolled a 24, so he is the dungeon master would just say, okay, so with the 24 he succeeds, and the player doesn't have to go, don't you want to know what my DC is? Well, no, he already has it. So having that player give me all of their defenses made it a lot easier on me. But I will warn you all for 4th edition, it is definitely a game about collaboration, not just between you and the other players. It is about collaboration between the players and the dungeon master. Because a lot of times I was having a little bit of trouble trying to figure out where certain things were going. But, they were like, yeah, okay, so do I have this? And I'd be like, oh, yes, you do have that. You remember that. Good, good, good. Or I'd have to remind one of my players, hey, don't forget you have all these bonuses because you're flanking, you have combat advantage, your power that you used last turn gave you this, so you have a +6 since it all gives you combat advantage, which I believe that's how combat advantage works. I'll have to read a little bit more on that. But highly recommend 4th edition. It's very, very good. I'm very excited to learn more about it, play more. But that's just my small little tangent here. Just play 4th edition. It's so much fun. There's a lot of creativity. There's a lot of classes, and while not the essential classes are entirely viable, they are still fun to play if you build them the way that you think you want to build a character. Like, one of my players was a berserker, and although berserker is significantly worse than a barbarian, he had fun because he enjoyed the berserker. So I'd say let your players play whatever they want. Play 4th edition and play the essentials classes in 4th edition. Who cares? It's all in good fun anyway. But that's just my small tangent. Play 4th edition, give it a try. Give 5th edition a rest until Wizards of the Coast can figure out what the hell they're doing with 1D&D. And even then, just play other editions, play other games in general. Take a break from tabletop role-playing games for a little while, if you so feel need to. Hell, check out Mutants and Masterminds. That's pretty good. But, yeah.